Hey gang, today we're asking, does the fine-tuning argument really prove God? One of the most popular arguments for the existence of God is the fine-tuning argument, and the basic idea is this. The universe appears to be incredibly finely balanced for the existence of life. The laws of physics and the constants that govern our universe seem to fall within extremely narrow ranges that allow stars, planets, chemistry, and ultimately life to exist. Apologists such as William Lane Craig argue that there are three possible explanations for this: physical necessity, chance, or design. Craig then argues that the universe is not this way because of physical necessity, because the constants would have been different. He argues if it is not due to chance, he argues it is not due to chance because the odds of getting a life-permitting universe are incredibly small. Therefore, he concludes design is the best explanation. At first glance, this can seem like a very powerful argument, but I think there's some important questions that we need to ask. Are the options really only limited to three? The first issue is the assumption that the possibilities have been exhausted. Are we really left with only necessity, chance, or design? Science has repeatedly shown us that complex outcomes can arise from the interaction of natural laws and contingent events. We didn't arise by chance in chaos. There is another possibility that complex outcomes emerge from natural processes where chance operates within the boundaries set by consistent physical laws, just like the kitty gutter guards at the bowling alley that keep the ball going down the alley even though it wasn't perfectly shot. Evolution is a perfect example of this. Before we understood evolution, many people looked at the complexity of living things and concluded that they must have been directly designed. The eye, the human body, and the diversity of life appeared too complex to have arisen naturally. But evolution showed us something important. Complexity can emerge from a combination of lawful processes and chance events. Mutations involve randomness. Natural selection is not random. Chemistry, genetics, and physics all operate according to consistent rules. Life is not simply chance. Life is not simply necessity. It's an interaction between the two. And that interaction produces complexity that can look designed. So what about physical necessity? Craig argues that the constants of the universe are not necessary. But how do we know that? But how do we know they could have been different? We observe that they have these values, but we do not yet know whether deeper laws or principles require those values. The truth is, we don't know why the constants have the values that they have. We simply don't know. It is possible that there are deeper physical principles or mechanisms that we have not yet discovered that constrain those values. I'm not saying that this is definitely the answer. I'm saying we cannot eliminate a possibility simply because we do not currently understand it. It's an unsupported leap. Throughout history, there have been many things that seemed impossible to explain naturally until we discovered the mechanisms behind them. So what about chance? The word chance can also be misleading. Natural explanations are rarely just random events producing outcomes by accident. The universe contains patterns, laws, and processes that shape what happens. The Earth itself provides an example. The Earth is an open system. It constantly receives concentrated usable energy from the sun and releases lower quality infrared energy back into space. That flow of energy drives weather, chemistry, ecosystems, and life itself. Entropy does not prevent complexity, is my point. The flow of energy through systems can produce and maintain complex structures while the total entropy of the larger system increases. Life exists because energy is constantly flowing from a source of higher usability into a sink of lower usability. Every living thing is part of this process. We maintain our internal organization by taking in energy and releasing heat into our environment. So when we see complexity, the question is not simply, was it random or was it designed? Sometimes complexity emerges from natural processes operating over time. I think part of what makes the fine-tuning argument so convincing to many people is a very understandable reaction. This is incredible. And it is incredible. The universe is unfathomable and astonishing at a scale that we simply cannot comprehend other than with really big numbers printed on paper. It's impossible to get our heads wrapped around the size of this place. But there's a difference between saying something is amazing and demonstrating that only one explanation is possible. Justifying a premise or conclusion based on a person's incredulity is a classical logical fallacy known as the argument from incredulity. Throughout history, supernatural explanations have often moved into the unknown spaces as our understanding of nature expanded. When lightning was unexplained, gods controlled the sky. When disease was unexplained, spirits and demons were often blamed. As those explanations failed, the proposed location of the divine moved further beyond what we could investigate. The fact that something appears designed or purposed by a mind does not, by itself, prove that it was designed. But let's go one step further. Suppose we grant the argument. Suppose the universe really does point to some kind of design. This still does not demonstrate the God of Christianity, Islam, the Hindu gods, or any of the thousands of other gods created by religion. Everything we know that is designed by specific minds, sometimes by one mind, sometimes by many minds working together. A building has many architects, engineers, and workers. A computer program can have many developers, and a complex project can have many contributors. So even if we concluded that there was some kind of designer, we would still need evidence for what kind of designer that was. One designer? Many designers? A personal being? Something else entirely? Some natural process we don't understand yet? The fine-tuning argument does not answer those questions. Different religious traditions make different claims about the source of the universe, and the fine-tuning argument alone does not tell us which, if any, of those claims is correct. The fine-tuning argument raises an interesting question. Why is our universe the way it is? That's a legitimate question, but I don't think the answer is as simple as it is either chance, necessity, or design. We rolled out the first two and therefore God. The problem is that those premises have not been demonstrated. We don't know enough about the underlying nature of reality to eliminate every natural possibility. We know that nature can produce complexity through processes we once didn't understand. And even if design were established, we would still need additional arguments to get from a designer exists to this God or that God exists. The universe is amazing, but amazement alone is not evidence. The question is not whether the universe is incredible. The question is whether the evidence actually leads us to the conclusion being claimed. This is the argument that most convinced me as a believer, and today I am still in awe of our universe. I no longer believe we live in a universe created with us in mind, but I stand in awe of the fact that the collection of matter that is me got to experience a brief, profound, and breathtaking view of it. And awe of the universe is something that we can all get together about. Thanks, gang.